Hello, I am Jaren, and today we're going to make this. We're going to be looking at how we can take groupings of 2s and 3s and apply them to drum patterns in order to make the pattern feel balanced across all its parts and across the bar, as well as setting up the pattern so that it can be varied throughout the course of a section, a whole song, or track. I've loaded up one of the stock drum kits, the Street Mind kit. It had a good natural sounding kick, snare, and hi-hat. Let's start by using a pattern of 3-3-2. There's 3 16th notes, 1, 2, 3. Again, another group of 3, 1, 2, 3, and then a group of 2. I'm going to add a hi-hat playing on quarter notes so that we can get a sense of how this actually feels in rhythm. How can we vary this up? We could just repeat this and have it going throughout the entire section. That could work as a climax section or a chorus section. I will go ahead and deactivate those notes. We can call this first one section A, call the second one section B. Let's stick with section A for a minute here. So we still have this pattern underlying. We can activate the last one so that there's not 2 beats of empty space there. Now it feels like a more complete phrase throughout the whole bar. And underneath, even though we're not hearing it, we still have these 2 groupings of 3. The simplest way you can approach the snare is by simply having it play on beats 2 and 4. We can add nuance in the snare by applying a ghost note snare, a quieter snare underneath that main snare on 2 and 4. And then we can apply to that ghost snare groupings of 2 and 3, similar to the way we did with the kick drum, but using a different sequence. Let's try a grouping of 2, 2, 3. We'll start by using 2 16th notes, another 2 16th notes, and then 3 16th notes. Then we'll repeat this pattern with 2, 2, 3, and then end it with another 2. Let's see how this sounds. And if I remove the main snare, we can see how that sounds without it. Because right here we have it lining up where the secondary snare is doubling what the main snare is playing. But over here we don't. It's coming right before. This is again something where you could have all of these elements playing for the higher energy section and then take them away like we have here for a lower energy section like a verse. So if we go from this higher energy section to section A where we don't have as much happening, it should give us the sense of moving between sections of a song. Another thing we can do to enhance the secondary snare that is playing the ghost notes is move to a 30-second note grid and add little rolls. We can add a group of 2 30-second notes here that lead into this strong beat here. We can do the same thing leading to the beginning of the loop here. Let's hear how that sounds. I'll add 30-second notes here as well, leading into this beat 4. I'll remove this one since we already have the main snare playing that, so that it's similar to this moment here. At this point, you can see how we've gotten a lot of detail going on in the groove here, and we're just filling in the blanks in between the groups of 3s and 2s that we pretty much arbitrarily selected at the beginning. You could choose any number of other groupings of 2s and 3s, and it would present other little moments that you could emphasize. We have a group of 2, another group of 2, and then let's add another group of 3 here. Let's do that same thing over here. and we'll fill in the 16ths. I'm also going to lower the velocity so that we only hear the strong quarter notes played. Let's add another layer with the shaker. We'll do 3, 3, 2, which is the same pattern we had in the kick. Now we'll fill in the shaker by adding notes before the groups as well. Let's see how this sounds. Nice. Let's see how it feels at a different tempo. It's playing now at 93 beats per minute. Now, to make each of these sections more interesting on their own, we can expand them from 1-bar loops to 2-bar loops. And now we can add elements that only happen on the 2nd bar. That's a group of 3, 3, 2. Let's try that on a different sound. We can do the same thing by expanding this 2-bar loop now into a 4-bar loop and adding an element that only happens the very last bar, the 4th bar. Let's try to add a cymbal crash here. Let's see if we can add it on beat 1 as well. On section A, we could have it so that we could use the same doubling of the loop to make it so that the kick that's leading into the downbeat of the next bar only happens every 2 bars. Let's copy this same pattern onto the superior drummer track. We have our secondary snare playing on this D note. That combined with our strong snare playing this rim shot sample gives you the feeling of a drummer rolling the stick. When we add back in the hi-hats, the little variations in the drum notes and the quieter ghost notes give you the feel of it moving in a pretty natural way. You can combine this with the more drum machine style samples and it has a pretty nice effect. There's a lot going on in these patterns, but everything's locked together because it's all using the same concept of groupings of 2s and 3s. If it's too busy for your taste, you can go in and easily just deactivate notes and make it more sparse. An advantage to using these groups of 2s and 3s to put your rhythms together is that oftentimes they can create a strong enough rhythmic backbone that you can combine a bass sound with what your kick pattern is doing and combine a chord or melody sound with what the other elements in your kit are doing, and it'll automatically glue the whole groove together. So I'm going to take the exact same MIDI clip from the drums and put it right on the bass. Now I'm going to remove everything but the kick pattern from that bass clip. Let's see how that works, just playing one note. Although it's not very interesting, it's tied together with the drums in a way that make it really cohesive. A really fast way you can get interest happening with the bass line is by simply moving octaves. So since we have 3 notes here, I'm going to make the second up an octave. And I'll also make this last note up an octave. I'm going to take the whole clip and move it down an octave. I'm also going to take the note here and stretch it so that it holds throughout the whole bar. Do that here as well. I'm going to move this note, which is C, up to F so that it comes through on our headphones and speakers a bit better. Now let's take a melodic / chord element and add it using inspiration from what the percussion and snares are doing in our drum track. We'll try a Rhodes sound. Copy that same MIDI clip to our Rhodes. I'm going to make these first notes chords. Let's hear how that sounds. Now it feels like these notes that are lingering here should be in a melodic sound. Let's move it around the F minor scale, some of these notes, to get a melody happening. Now let's take some of these notes and extend them so they last a little longer through the bar here. Having an idea run through the entire composition, such as groupings of 2 and 3, can go a long way to unify all the parts and prevent elements from sounding random or awkward. If you would like to download this project file, stems, and MIDI clips, as well as access to the full video of how I turn this sketch into what you heard at the beginning of this video, then head over to my Patreon and sign up for a tier that suits you. Thanks for watching.